Welcome back to Morgan's video blog, Morgan's online blog in video format. Today, I'm here to tell you that virtual cons are just as exhausting. So, I ran social media, did tech support and moderation, was on panels, attended panels, all this past weekend. And it was too much. So, let me tell you about my weekend. Thursday, I still had my day job, but after I signed off 7:30, my evening was all last minute prep. A donation for earmarked for advertising came in, so I got the go ahead to do some Facebook ads on Thursday night. I have never done Facebook ads. I use Canva for my graphic art stuff. I'm not really a drawer. So I tossed half the money at boosting the Where to Find Virtual Balticon post and half at a short slideshow inviting people to the event. We got several thousand views and a couple hundred engagements, including 5 or 6 people accusing us of spamming them. To which I just replied, sorry, Facebook algorithms are unknowable and unpredictable, which led to me being accused of being a bot because I didn't see a reason to change my response if they weren't reading the other comments. Oh well. Then again, we still had plenty of people, regular Balticon members included, that said that they didn't hear about the con until it was already happening or halfway through or already done. Somehow, my own mother, despite listening to me ramble on numerous occasions about the convention, missed that it was going to be free. I'm just going to facepalm here. So, social media only works so well. You can only communicate with the people who are on and looking. So, before bed on Thursday, I also finished scheduling hourly reminders of each panel with links to register, and I finished this about 4 a.m. after 3 unscheduled tag ups with various team members for this or that or the other after 11 p.m. Friday. So, Friday morning was helping people log on and making the moderation schedule. I know, Friday's a bit late for the moderation schedule, but tech had said they were going to do it, but had too many emergencies pop up and we just ran out of time. I've never seen opening ceremonies before, but since I was on it, I thought I should watch. I got the it's go time feeling just from watching it, like I do at a physical convention, only alone and in silence at my own home. It was very surreal. I wanted to see all the panels like I normally do, but I couldn't stop myself from making sure everything was still running smoothly on Discord and helping people sort out how to log on and talking them through any technical difficulties. I do have some partial notes from, and I was pretty impressed myself, 11 of the 13 panels or presentations that I attended. At first, I tried to get the screenshots from all the text and post them during the first 10 minutes of the next panel, and it took me about 2 hours to realize that wasn't going to happen, and just gave up on that level of perfectionism. With the panels only running until 10 p.m., I decided I would just wait until after the last panel of the day and get them all prepped in a batch. Sure, it wasn't quite as lively for the social media feed, but they were already getting the hourly schedule. There's trying to make things convenient for people, and then there's flooding them, and I was already being accused of spamming people. On Friday, I only hit one panel that I wanted to take notes for, the 6 p.m. Writing for Themed Anthologies. The other two I hit, Bad Book Covers and This Kaiju Life Live, were presentations or performances I could just enjoy. Plus, they were after dinner, so tech support had died down a bit by then. After the final panel on Friday, I hit a Discord party or two, hanging out and chatting with con attendees, just like hitting a room party at a con, only you have to bring your own drinks and snacks. While there, I prepped and posted all those screenshot images and headed off to bed by 3 a.m. Saturday, I woke up and caught up on all the Discord threads and social media before logging into the 10 a.m. You can't shop at Target in Middle Earth, only a few minutes late. Next up, I got to hear Nick Martell and Keith DeCandido read some excerpts from their works while eating a bagel. Nick introduced us to his world and his characters, and Keith ripped out our hearts. I was doing tech support, but got to hear most of Noon's tips for writing combat, and then an hour solo tasking. Yeah, I needed to solo task more, and checking all the social media locations to see who needed help. 2 p.m. was story time with Kingdom of Warrior Women, the Dahomey Kingdom and its Amazons. I'd considered a few of the 3 and 4 o'clock panels, but ended up just doing Discord and prepping for my first panel at my home convention and my second panel ever. Dealing with literary rejection. We had people on the panel who gave rejections, people who received them, and people who did both. And I had the joy of having the very agent that I sent my first query letter to, who gave me, or his assistant gave me, my first rejection letter ever on the panel, Joshua Bilmus of Jabberwocky. I did my best to come across as intelligent and well-spoken, and I hope I was at least a little entertaining. After a good hour at the Discord after panels discussion room with some lively chatter, I sat in on Science Fiction Has Always Been Political with some excellent discussion and great examples and making painful edits. I finished my day listening to some pulpy adventures by Daniel Kimmel and Michael Ventrella. Then I took a quiet evening walk around the block. I'd say away from social media, but I think I was still checking it. Just to move. My back had started tingling like it was going numb, which is not a sensation I've ever had there before. I might need to see my chiropractor. It's been doing it on and off since then. Then I visited the tech crew Zoom party, while of course prepping the screenshot posts and working on outlining my questions for the panel I was going to be moderating the next day. Finally, I swung through the new media party just long enough to say goodnight at 3:30 in the morning again. Sunday, I could not sleep in. I was starting my day off with 2 panels. Sure, 10 a.m. sounds perfectly reasonable to most people, but that's when I roll up to my day job, because I'm lucky like that, and I don't usually care if my hair is wet from the shower or my face is made up before I roll into the office that's normally a 10-minute commute away, or walk over to my desk in my house these days, nor do I own a hairdryer. It was, I think, 90% dry in time for the panel. But I made it showered and made up in time for the 9:30 pre-panel check-in. Or maybe it was 9:32. Still. Beta reading propositions. What are you in for? By this panel, I'd started to feel a little more solid with my speaking skills, although I think I used the same interjection more than once. We'll see if I'm brave enough to watch it when it rolls out. And then, of course, the after-panel discussions and a quick moderator meeting before my 11:30 a.m. call time for my third and final panel of the weekend. This time, I was moderating. I toasted another bagel, cinnamon raisin with cream cheese, for those of you who are curious. And then I looked frantically for where I'd been put that outline I'd been working on the night before frantically. Edit out that second frantically. By the time we had most of the lineup, I followed the procedure that my earlier moderators had done. I asked if the other panelists wanted to hear my questions in advance. I read them out and then asked if they had anything to add, and nothing. So, what's this about a social media presence? You might remember my 5.5 part introduction to social media I did a year or two ago. I had some solid panelists, including the very chatty T. Morris, who literally wrote the books on social media. Luckily, he knew he had a tendency to chat and smoothly finished his sentence and ceded the floor after each gentle thank you from me. We had a moment of veering into politics, losing one attendee very loudly on the chat, but for the most part, I think it went very smoothly. In the Discord after panel, T complimented my moderation, and I admitted it was my first time. Polite or not, I was glad to hear that the other panelists thought it had gone well. I drifted in and out of the dinosaurs, the update presentation, and then tuned in for most of Momentum for Writers and how to self-edit that lousy first draft. By the end of that second panel, though, that last panel, I don't even know what count I'm up to now. I was fried. I wanted to see more. I wanted to support friends and see them chat and panel, but I was dead. Plus, as I reminded myself, I could always rewatch the panels once they went up on YouTube. Pretty sure some of those panels I took notes from. I need to rewatch. So I swung by the Virtual Con Suite, got myself some hot dogs in real life, and chatted with my dad and another con goer about guitars until I had food in me. For those who don't know, my dad usually hangs out in the con suite. And that's where you go to find snacks and random conversation. That hangout was one of the most like a physical con aspects all weekend. And then I napped for like 2 hours. Oh my goodness. I realized when I woke up that I'd made a mistake. I'd never made a special announcement for the film festival whose schedule had not been finalized until like Wednesday or Thursday night. And it had started at 8 p.m. on Sunday, and it was already like 8:20, so it was too late to announce it. So all I could do was set up an announcement for the 1 p.m. re-airing on Monday. I am so sorry for everyone who wanted to see the short film festival. That mistake is just on me. I ran out of time and it fell through the cracks. I apologize. But I did wake up in time for most of the choosing your perspective, and then, because it would not be recorded, made sure to take notes at the Body Disposal, a primer for writers. Unfortunately, this presenter has had her notes stolen wholesale 3 times, so I will not be sharing these publicly online. I did not realize when I went in that the body disposal panel was going to be 2 hours long. And because it was the last presentation of the night, they let it run long, and long it ran. I wanted to hit 3 of the Zoom parties that evening, but by the time I left the second one, the third one had just shut down at 3:45 in the morning. Oops. Monday, I slept until 10:45 when my alarm went off, and I caught up with all my alerts, made sure nothing was on fire, got dressed, and then my alarm went off. That's when I realized the first alarm was my weekly "don't forget to sync your Fitbit" that I have like for after I get into the office. Oh well, it's not like 15 minutes of sleep really would have netted me that much. At 11:30 a.m., I was hosting as a technician my one and only Zoom session for Bluestone Archers, Reference Like an Artist. He'd been running training for techs and the panelists for the last 2 weeks, helping me with documentations and things, so it was fun to run, and I wanted to do right by my trainer. But I flubbed giving him any time warnings at all. So he was halfway through a sketch when I messaged, here's your 10, 5, and 1 minute warning. We managed to wrap with 90 seconds to do the handoff stream to the next panel, because we were on Twitch, and for the live stream not to have any glitches, you've got to set up the next panel, and that's why we had the 10-minute breaks. Way too close. I am very sorry to our tech staff. Great job on that quick handoff, though. I listened into some of novel, novella, or short story right when that wrapped, getting a scattering of notes because my focus was kind of shot by then. And then I prepped and listened in on the final panel of the con, Improving Balticon. I logged on in case people had social media questions, but no one did. With the text-only format forcing people to formulate their questions before we got to them, we managed to get through 170 questions in under 2 hours. I know many people hated the lack of audio or video from the panel attendees, but others loved the ability to chat without interrupting the panel, especially for what was the name of that book, but also for side comments. Plus, a lot of people's bandwidth starts to choke when streaming more than 6 or 8 people's videos. During the Improving Balticon panel, I posted the rest of the screenshots our techs had gotten me, on average 1 per hour. I wanted to make sure that the con had faces, not just technology. And just like that, the con was over. The Discord quieted to a dull roar. I threw together a thank you image to post and ordered some Thai food for dinner. I never made it to our Second Life portion. I never even installed it on my laptop. Discord was enough of a resource hog, and I only had so many hours in a day. Virtual Balticon was a massive undertaking achieved in under 2 months. Massive kudos goes out to the staff that pulled it together, the panelists and guests who went through all of our training and provided the content, and of course the fans, without whom we'd be talking to empty rooms. Have you ever attended a virtual convention? Did you make it to Balticon? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and I will be back again next week with more writing tips and writerly musings. Bye-bye.